Welcome back. Well, 200 top military leaders have left their ranks during President Obama's time in office so far, averaging one every 8.8 days. So is the military being decimated under the Obama administration?
Or is this the way it goes with everyday attrition? Let's ask J.D. Gordon, a retired Army commander and former Pentagon spokesperson who served in the Office of the Secretary of Defense from 05 to 09. J.D., what's going on here?
Well, I think that President Obama is trying to make the military smaller, weaker, and poorer. And this is just the latest example of it.
Why would any president want to do that?
Well, I think President Obama has this ideology where he thinks that if our military is weak, people won't attack us. I think that's completely wrong. I think that if we're weak, people will attack us. So I think it's part of a flawed ideology. And I think he's basically trying to put the hammer down on the military. We see $1 trillion in defense cuts coming down the pike in the next decade. That's going to hollow out the military like during the 1970s. We're going to have a hard time defending this country under this leadership.
Why the scrutiny? I mean, it seems the greatest leaders, those that have sacrificed the longest for our nation, in high-ranking positions in the military are being scrutinized. Why?
I think a lot of it's political. I think President Obama wants to send a message to the military that he's the boss and he's going to do whatever he wants with the military. In this case, we're seeing these massive cuts, like I said, with this $1 trillion in defense budgets. So if there's any hint of anything that may be wrong or any sign of controversy, he'll just say goodbye, get rid of them. So I think that's dangerous for the country.
Well, we have 200 since he's taken off. Do you know roughly what under President Bush, under more strain and stress over 2 wars in 10 years, that he was experiencing?
Oh, it was certainly a lot less than this. You know, I got to tell you that in World War II and in the Civil War, a lot of senior officers were relieved, but that was because of lack of success. Ineffectiveness on the battlefield. We don't really have the same metrics to measure that on the battlefield today. So a lot of guys, what they do is a lot of it's political, and a lot of it is it's easy to get in trouble today. There's a lot of scrutiny on admirals and generals, captains, commanders. There's hotline calls everywhere, and the troops used to have a healthy respect for the chain of command as far as giving them their space. They don't anymore. And also, what people could say about 20 years ago, they can't say anymore. It would get them fired. But I think President
we find that in a lot of areas of life too. I mean, you were saying about personal behavior that were Patton and MacArthur and others held up to the same scrutiny as McChrystal and Petraeus. They would have been relieved today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, during World War II, Patton, Eisenhower, MacArthur, they all had mistresses, but that was their business in those days. That's not the case today, so the standards have changed with the culture. But the thing I got to mention that I'm really upset about President Obama with is he spends all this time going after these top military officers. 200 have been fired during his term, one every 8.8 days. But yet he spends all this time trying to give constitutional rights to al-Qaeda and Taliban terrorists like Guantanamo. Why doesn't he give our military people more of a break and stop trying to defend al-Qaeda so much at Guantanamo?
Oh, there's the same benefit of the doubt. Well said. J.D. Gordon, thank you for being with us
Elizabeth.
this morning.
Thanks. Meanwhile, coming up...